So, Michael, let's talk about some of these patches.
No, let's actually play them.
Let's play some. Okay.
So yeah, as you know, there's a new update for the TD-50, and myself and two other drummers from Europe, Dirk Brandt and Craig Blundell, we've been very busy in coming up with artist versions of some of the original presets of the original first version of the TD-50 sound edition. So this is for instance the new kit number 1, which is still called Jaraply, but it's my version. And then I'll in a B sections we'll do a A/B comparison. It's the old version. So this is the new one. Same beat with the other one, with the old one. It's a big difference, right?
Huge difference.
Well, the difference is not the sounds. The genuine sounds are still the same, which were, by the way, recorded in Sydney. So all these new TD-50 sounds were recorded in Sydney in an amazing studio and co-produced by Simon Aiton from Roland, Australia, and the Japanese sound engineer, which name is Yusuke Tanakatate. We call him Yusuke-san. Please say Yusuke-san.
Yusuke-san.
So thank you, Yusuke-san. But once you go into the module and you go, for instance, into, let's say you make a bass drum, you can just start from the naked sound and then add EQ, compression, but also very important, like for instance, different microphone position, or for instance, add some transient. This is, for instance, that same bass drum sound without the transient designer. And now with the transient designer.
Yeah.
And that's what people constantly do in a studio. So that's what we also did with the new preset version. So this was just kit number 1. Again. And now the original one. It's like putting your drum set in another acoustic environment. But we did that for lots of presets. So this, for instance, is the Rock Legend one, the new version. This is the former version. It's a little bit more close mic, but it doesn't take advantage of the beef of your bass drum shell. So I deepen depth, you know, a little bit more depth on the bass drum. Also, again, the transient designer and some extra EQ and compression. So instead of, you know, inviting the TD-50 owners to do it themselves, we now did it for them. It's great. Now. Next set, this for instance is a typical first version of the studio kit, small set. Like a little bit of an 18-inch closed mic bass drum and so on. But I ended up making it sound like this. Already on the snare drum, there's a big difference. Now it sounds like this. It's a little bit blending in a little bit more with the kick. The kick is a little bit bigger. The toms. These are the new tom versions. These are the old ones. Not only the volume is a little bit less, but also it's less in the face.
Yes, less thick.
It's very easy to do in a TD-50, but you cannot expect people to do it themselves. So that's why we're doing this. Another one?
Yep.
Yeah?
Let's do another one.
Are you downloading these after?
Oh, yeah.
Because they are for free. So you don't need to sell any of your shoes or whatever. They're totally free. It's a free update. No cost at all. I'm shooting in my own footer here. Yeah. This is, for instance, one of my favorite kits, the Walnut Popper. It's actually very funky. So this is the new version, this is the old version. And as you hear, the tuning of this original preset version is a little bit higher, very neutral. Nothing. It's like, you know, buying a car with no seats in there. But the seats are already out there, but you just have to put them in. Now,
right.
The seats are in there.
Oh yeah.
Another good comparison is that these original presets are like you're sitting in the car and you're listening to the music with the windows open, and this is how it sounds. So it sounds really neutral, really, you know, like you just put mics and you don't do any preamps or EQing in the studio, and then you close the windows and there you have it. And it makes you move a little bit better, and you know, it's just a lot more fun. So there's plenty of preset kits. Also Craig and Dirk did 5 other ones each. And then there's Yusuke in Japan who also worked on all the other presets.
Smash, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know.
So the download comes with a lot of new preset versions of the TD-50 kits.
Excellent.
And there's also some kits, like I did 2 or 3, where I incorporate some samples. And the nice thing about TD-50, the customer doesn't need to do anything. Those samples are actually in the folder of that kit. So when you actually download the new kits, all the samples come automatically with it. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to hook up your computer and start figuring out in what folder these samples should be and so on. It's not a Windows system. It works.
Rockin'.
So that's the thing. For instance, this is one I use. Like for instance, this is this is the sound, for instance. Here we go. This is the pure TD-50 walnut snare. And now I add some samples. And then for instance for the bass drum, this is the bass drum, just the acoustic one. And then I add a TR-909 internal kick sound. And then we have a drum and bass kit. And what I did on the hi-hats is also really interesting. Here, for instance, this is the normal hi-hat sound. So still all the layering, but you can actually layer another internal sound. So now I'm gonna layer the stacked cymbal 10-inch hi-hat plus 8-inch China plus a little bit of a splash thing. So normally it sounds like this. And now it sounds like this. So even when I close the hi-hat, it has this. And then you can really do a lot of things like or even on the right, I can actually have a hi-hat. And let's, for instance, layer, why not? Layer another sound on there, for instance. Like maybe a little bit of a crash. Here we go. With a little bit of a pitching thing and a Try that with an acoustic drum set. It'll cost you lots of money. On top of that, I can individually actually edit all these sounds in the key of the song. Aha! So we end up doing this. 1, 2, 3. And I still have control of opening and closing of the hi-hat.
When you hit that pad and you open that, it opens that as well.
As I told you, it's not a Windows system. It works. And I still have the new USB, you know, hand. Lay your hand on top of there. It works. So it's a really interesting thing, first of all, to download those new preset samples and just start experimenting with some layers, have fun, and it will turn you into a more enthusiastic drummer because you have all these sounds you can hit at the same time.
By moving a hi-hat over here, that must change the way you play. And it must mean you move in a different way.
Yeah, because you can actually open up your playing, for instance. If you're just playing a 4/4 beat, okay? And then you go to the right cymbal. But on the middle surface, I can actually also have the hi-hat. With a little bit of a splash China kind of thing. And then I could do something like this. And it makes the people dance. It makes me dance. So I'm actually transferring the happiness of playing drums through to your wife or girlfriend if you're playing at home, or maybe through to yourself when you record yourself on video. But it's a great thing because it actually inspires me to do different things. Yeah. Even on the live stage, for instance, I'll give you, when I do my drum DJ kind of thing, I usually have like, you know, you have just ride on it and layer it with a little bit of a dark cymbal kind of thing, and then you end up doing something like this. No, I'm not doing it.
I love that bit.
No, because there's a word. So that's what keeps me alive.
That's what keeps you alive, mate.
And happy. Your microphone is
Yeah,
on.
I'm getting too excited.
So that's also why I like moving. And actually, drumming for me is already a workout because I could do it like this. And then there's, of course, lots of, well, not lots of people that are ranting also on my Facebook channel about, hey man, you shouldn't move like this. You're consuming too much energy. And I always reply, well, I wish you a very happy life. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just my style.
Yeah.
I don't want to impose it on anyone, but this makes me groove and move. Mm-hmm. And I'm not using any click track. So I'm really... Yeah, it locks me in. It's a physical enjoyment as well. And it's much more healthy than any other physical enjoyment. That's also very important.
Handy tip.
But like we've been discussing before, any sound, like for instance, when you see people in a music store at Better Music, and they see this big 24-inch bass drum, and they just go out there and they punch it, they're like, wow, this is amazing. But even when just playing one kick drum on one kick hit on that bass drum already is another movement for them. When they do the same thing on a small 18-inch, they will move differently. So for instance, when I play kind of a more bluesy kind of thing like this, it will be something completely different from, for instance, I'm more laid back, and here when I play a little bit of hip hop, it'll be it's a different style, it's a different sound, it's a different movement.
Yeah, and they inspire you to play differently. Exactly.